Hi, I'm Ben. Not too long ago, a student had transferred to our class. He really pissed me off. Arthur was arrogant and acted like everyone owed him something. When we first met, he laughed at what I was wearing. Is that vintage, or did you dumpster dive? My family was poor, and I was wearing my older brother's clothes. To be honest, that really bothered me, so his words struck a nerve. I wanted to punch him, but then I got a better idea. Arthur had made a lot of people mad, so my friends gladly agreed to help me. While Arthur was in the shower after gym class, we took all his clothes from the locker. Then we left a woman's dress in their place, ran out into the hallway, and waited. There were no other clothes left in the locker room, so he had no choice but to put the dress on. A few minutes later, he came out wearing it, and seeing us, growled with anger. We laughed and ran down the hallway, dangling his clothes just out of reach. He ran after us. I filmed the chase on my phone and sent the video to the school's group chat. Everyone laughed at Arthur. I was very pleased with myself until I was called to the principal's office. Such behavior is unacceptable. You'll have big problems if you bully the new guy again. I choked with indignation. Arthur had started it by making fun of me, but the principal didn't care about my objections. I left the school in an awful mood, and it got even worse when I saw something. Standing on the porch, Arthur was flirting with Mona, my girlfriend. He had even given her a bouquet of flowers. Just when had he had the time to run to a store for it? I couldn't help but do what I had long dreamt about, punch him in the face. And you know what? Mona took his side. She pushed me away and called me an idiot. I was shocked. So that's how it is, huh? Stupid gifts are more important to you than me? It's not my fault you never gave me any gifts. She moved her arm so quickly that she dropped her phone, fell on the asphalt, and the display cracked. I barely held back from saying anything, turned and left. Of course, I had never given her gifts. But it was just because I didn't have any money. Feeling like a complete loser, I was walking down the street when some guy suddenly caught up to me. Hi, I accidentally overheard your fight. I stopped and looked at him defiantly. So, I want to offer you a part-time job. It's just that I was in a situation like yours once, and I know what you're going through. I own an auto repair shop. You could wash and wax cars. By the way, my name is John. It was all very sudden, but I agreed. I really needed the money, and John seemed like an okay guy. We agreed that I would come to work in the evening. The next day, I met my friends at school and told them about my new part-time job. They were happy for me, and I felt a bit better. We were about to go to class when a black bike suddenly drove up to the school at high speed. A beautiful girl took off her helmet and got off the bike. Wow, one of the guys even whistled. She came up to us and asked us where the principal's office was. We were so stunned that we just stared at her in silence, but I eventually managed to pull myself together. We could take you there. After helping her, we started discussing who she could be. A relative of the principal? Someone's sister? We were in for a surprise during the gym class that day. It turned out that our previous teacher had quit, and the new one had already been hired. We were already anticipating making fun of them, but then that beautiful girl suddenly walked into the gym. Was that our new teacher? Wow, she looked like an actress from an action movie. Everyone was shocked. Some guys immediately started laughing and trying to flirt with her. However, once the class started, all the giggling stopped. Mrs. Hall turned out to be a real monster. She made us run laps, work till we collapsed, and if someone whined, she made them do additional exercises. After class, we could barely stand. She's the Terminator. But she's cool anyway. From that day on, I spent all my evenings at the auto repair shop. The work wasn't too difficult. I did well and soon got my first salary. I looked at the bills in my hands and couldn't believe that they were mine. It was a great feeling, and I immediately decided what I would spend them on. I went to the best flower shop in town and bought an armful of white roses, Mona's favorite flowers. I couldn't wait to surprise her. I really wanted to see her reaction and for her to think I was cool. So I came to her place. Mona opened the door and froze. I expected her to be happy, but for some reason, Mona looked tense. Mona, come here! I've turned it on! I recognized Arthur's voice and went ballistic. I pushed Mona aside, walked in, and saw him in the living room. Arthur was sitting in an armchair, and a new iPhone was laying on the table in front of him. There was a gift box with a stupid pink bow next to it. I felt crushed. I immediately remembered that Mona had broken her phone during our last fight. Arthur had bought her a new one and beat me again. Damn it! Why was he always one step ahead of me? I shoved the flowers at Mona and left, slamming the door on my way out. At first, I thought I wouldn't go back to the auto repair shop. What was the point? I would have to wash thousands of cars to earn enough for a new iPhone, but then I decided to keep working anyway, buy some new clothes, cool gadgets, and make Mona regret treating me that way. For the next few days, Arthur continued to get on my nerves. He flirted with Mona and gave her gifts when I was near. One time, he even kissed her right in front of me. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed him by the scruff of his neck and dragged him outside. Then, I suggested we fight it out. I was ready to start punching him when we were suddenly stopped by Miss Hall. She was teaching the junior classes and noticed that we were about to fight. You both are going to have to run 5 laps around the gym and then do 50 push-ups. Maybe sports will help you get your heads on straight. Start now! I reluctantly trudged to the gym, but then noticed Arthur sitting down on a bench. I'm not going to do anything. It's not gym class right now. I thought Miss Hall would make him, but she just grimaced and let him be. I was so furious that I ran 5 laps fast enough to have set a record. Why did that brat get away with everything? One day, our whole class decided to go to the cinema. As we were watching the movie, I suddenly noticed Miss Hall. She was sitting in the back and looked like she didn't want to be noticed. I wonder if it was just a coincidence, or if she was keeping an eye on us. That would have been weird. It wasn't like we were little kids. After the movie ended, we went outside and tried to decide which cafe to go to. Mona suddenly began to look around anxiously. Has anyone seen Arthur? He suddenly ran off somewhere. That lifted my spirits. Maybe he found someone better to keep him company. Mona pouted and didn't talk to me anymore. As we walked to the cafe, my shoe came untied, and I fell behind to deal with it. That was when I noticed a familiar-looking bike racing down the street. It was Miss Hall. I could have sworn that Arthur was sitting behind her, but what were they doing together? It seemed very suspicious to me. The next day, Arthur didn't show up at school, and Miss Hall was in a bad mood. She was even stricter than usual during our gym class. I was so exhausted that I even called John and asked him to give me the day off. At home, Mom cooked my favorite dish, spaghetti. I was sitting in the kitchen and waiting for dinner to be ready when I saw the latest news on TV. They were talking about a guy that had been kidnapped in a neighboring town. Mom immediately got scared and almost burned the spaghetti sauce. Ben, don't stay late anywhere, okay? Go home right after school. I waved her off and rolled my eyes. Mom had always scared so easily. When I came to school the next day, I saw Arthur. He was talking to Miss Hall and suddenly gave her a big box of chocolates. What was that all about? Since when did he give gifts to teachers? I immediately remembered them riding the bike together. Were they dating? No, that was impossible. Or was it? I started to watch them closely and noticed that Miss Hall acted differently around Arthur than she did around the other kids. She was friendly with and even nice to him. Damn it! I decided to tell Mona about it, but she got angry and twirled her finger at her temple. You just envy Arthur, so you come up with all sorts of nonsense. I realized that trying to prove anything to her was pointless and went to the principal. He was supposed to be the one dealing with such things, but he didn't even hear me out. I told you not to bother the new guy. Leave him alone. I was furious. What made Arthur so special? Why did he get the best of everything? First Mona, now Miss Hall. Even my friends abandoned me after he got them tickets to a football match. Of course, it was easy to be liked when your family had a lot of money. I was angry and upset. After school, I accidentally overheard a conversation that made me feel even worse. I really want to go to this concert. You're going to buy us tickets, right? Getting tickets isn't the problem, but I have trouble at home now, and I'm not allowed to go anywhere. Please, think of something. In the end, she managed to convince Arthur, and they went to the concert. I knew how much Mona loved that band, but their tickets to their concerts were very expensive. When I came to the auto repair shop, I couldn't focus on my work. I eventually gave up, sat down next to an expensive BMW, and took out my phone to pass time. That's when John came up to me. He noticed I was down and asked what was wrong. I hesitated for a second and told him everything. I think I could help you. This BMW is mine. We could drive it up to the concert venue so that Mona and Arthur would see you. I thought. Why not? Let them see I could ride cool cars. We drove up to the venue after the concert, waited a little, and soon I saw Mona and Arthur. We drove around the site and then stopped next to them. I opened the window and cracked a smirk at the sweet couple. Need a ride? They were so surprised, they just stood there with their mouths wide open. Arthur didn't want to agree, but Mona started whining and said she was very tired after walking around in heels. Ha! I saw right through her lies. I knew for sure she just wanted to ride around in a cool car. So they got in. Loud music was blaring and we didn't talk. At some point, I realized that I didn't know where we were going. We left the city center and found ourselves in the outskirts of town. At that moment, Arthur must have thought the same thing. In the rearview mirror, I saw him turn white as snow. Where are we going? John, did you decide to ride around for a while? John didn't answer either of us. I felt a bit scared. Soon we stopped next to an abandoned building and some people came up to the car. They grabbed the resisting Arthur and carried him inside the building. Then, John took away our phones and left. The car doors were locked and we couldn't get out. What the hell was going on? Mona was sobbing in the back seat. and I suddenly remembered the news my mother had watched. I think I recently heard about a guy getting kidnapped on the news. Maybe we were kidnapped too? I was such an idiot. I had trusted John and got a job at his auto repair shop without even asking him for any documents. The situation seemed hopeless, and I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, we heard the roar of an engine, and Miss Hall drove up to us on her bike. I couldn't believe my eyes. What was she doing there? She got off the bike and told me and Mona to move away. Then, with one confident movement, she pulled her arm back, broke the glass, and helped us get out of the car. Miss Hall asked us where Arthur had been taken. Then she shoved her phone in my hands and told me to call the police. To my surprise, she was holding a gun. Miss Hall crept towards the abandoned house. To say that I was stunned would be to say nothing. Just who was she? I called the police, and Mona and I waited. Around us was a wasteland, and we didn't know if it was safe to go there or not, so we stayed put. Suddenly, 2 people came out of the house. At first, I was scared, but then I recognized them as Miss Hall and Arthur, both pale as death. They had almost reached us when John suddenly appeared behind Mona. He grabbed her and demanded that Miss Hall give him Arthur. Everyone froze up and didn't know what to do. Then Mona quietly took out pepper spray from her purse, turned around, and sprayed it in John's face. He screamed and immediately let her go. Miss Hall ran up to them, twisted John's arms behind his back, and pushed him face down on the hood of the car. I stared at Mona in shock. My parents watched the news too. Mom bought me a pepper spray and told me to always carry it with me. Well, damn. It seems like sometimes parents were right to be overprotective. We heard sirens, and then the police came. They immediately took John away and brought his accomplices out of the building. Then another car arrived, and a man dressed in a business suit got out. It turned out that it was Arthur's father. And then I found out something hard to believe. Arthur's father was the mayor of a neighboring town. Not that long ago, the kidnappers had tried to take Arthur. He was the one we had heard about on the news. The criminals had even managed to get into Arthur's elite school. That's when the mayor decided to transfer his son to an ordinary school in another city under a different name, hoping the kidnappers would not look for him there. Our principal knew about everything, and Miss Hall was Arthur's bodyguard. The one day we had gone to the cinema, the criminals had tried to kidnap him again. Miss Hall saved him. He had given her a gift as a thank you. My head was spinning from such news. We had been right to say that Miss Hall looked like an actress from an action movie. I felt like a blockbuster hero myself. Well, since this has been dealt with, I'm taking my son back. When Arthur got into the car, Mona ran up to him. We're going to see each other, right? Will you ask me over? Arthur looked at her like she was crazy. Babe, there's a million girls like you chasing me. Goodbye. Arthur was being mean again, but for once, it didn't bother me. I didn't feel sorry for Mona. Soon, I found a new part-time job in a recently opened car service. I started not only washing cars, but also helping to repair them. In a couple of months, I bought myself new clothes and completely changed my style. My parents' business was also doing well, and they bought me a good phone. When the new me came to school, Mona came up to me. Ben, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You're the best. Let's start all over again. I looked at her and couldn't fathom why I used to like her so much. Sorry, but I don't want to date a girl that is only interested in expensive gifts. Despite Mona's behavior, I believe that there are girls who are capable of true love. Do you ever think I'll get lucky enough to meet one? If you're watching this, you've already breached the SCP Foundation protocols. Stay where you are. The cleanup team is on the way. In the meantime, you can watch stories of the people who were lucky enough to encounter the most anomalous SCP objects. When the Foundation staff arrives, you will be treated by Class A amnestics and you won't recall anything. This record will self-destruct in 3, 2, 1.